Hello and welcome to the show. My name is David Dadakian with Eat Drink Rhode Island, and my guest today is Jessica Wood, the owner of a number of different businesses over the years that I've known you, but currently the owner of Umelt and Salty's Burgers, along with her husband Ben and their friend JK in some cases. So you can fill us all in that. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
I'm hanging in.
Understandable. Here we are, hanging in.
Yeah, hanging in.
I know you wear a lot of hats.
I do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm also a teacher. You're getting the best of both worlds here. I'm a teacher, and so I was teaching all day on Zoom and trying to make that work.
Right.
And then I am a parent, so I was helping my children on Zoom. And then I was just chasing my dog across the river because he had stole a shoe and was swimming across the river. And I'm wearing my mop shoes.
Wow, mop shoes! You're cleaning the house.
You know,
you were doing it all. You literally are having it all. Wow.
Or trying.
Trying, of course. Well, that's all anyone can do nowadays is try.
It is. Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about. Let's start with your family. Where did you grow up? Where did you? How did you end up here?
I grew up in Western Massachusetts, in kind of an academia world where I went to UMass Amherst in the Five College area. Both my parents were academics. My mom was a dean at UMass Amherst, and I got my master's in poetry, which clearly would lead you straight to line cooking, which is what I started doing on the Cape when I was 21 with my husband in Beach Concessions, and that's where we are now. So now we have all the state beach concessions from Esquimalt up to Narragansett, and we also have the town beach concession for Narragansett. So this pandemic is definitely affected us.
Sure.
As it has for all of our friends in the restaurant business.
Right. And so how long have you, so you shouldn't not say his name. Ben is your husband.
Yes, he is. Ben is my husband. He's right now trying to install plexiglass so that everyone's safe and kiosks at all the beaches so that there aren't lines, and trying to figure out when we can open. But we're still waiting for guidelines, which are hard to follow, and nobody really knows what's going on. But that's not our state government's issue, more of like a overall issue with this.
Yeah, exactly. It is universal, unfortunately. But yeah, so concessions aren't open at the beaches yet. So the beaches did open on Monday. Has Ben been there, or have you been there during the week? And
yeah.
How's it looked?
We have been there. Scarborough's pretty busy today, so that makes us a little nervous. I wouldn't say it's our state government's issue. It's more they're just trying to deal with constant change coming from federal government.
Right. Yeah.
I do know.
It's constant change.
Yeah.
It's almost daily change. It's
almost minute change, and they're doing the best they can. I mean, They really are.
Well, I think everyone's trying to do the best they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but let's go back. Let's step back a little bit more. So, you and Ben have been together now how long?
It's a long time, 20-ish years. I don't know. I can't remember a time without him. Is that
nice?
Yeah. So long that we now have agreed with one of us is too tired to talk. We just say, I'm out of words now, and it's okay. Nobody's offended.
That's a very nice thing to have as a couple.
Yeah, it sure is. We're pretty lucky.
And you've got two boys?
We do. And that's really hard because they're online trying to learn too. So I'll be up in my bedroom trying to teach, and I'll see my son who's supposed to be in math skateboarding outside, and
Right.
It's hard. This is hard for everybody.
Oh well, yeah. That's no question. I mean, did they get a chance to see other kids much?
We just started lightening it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I had pneumonia, and so we were worried about that, and my youngest had pneumonia, so we're concerned about lung issues.
No, that's important, obviously. Wow. Yeah, no, mine definitely could use some more interaction with other kids other than each other.
Well, that's the thing. Like my 9-year-old, I didn't really realize it for Eli because he had friends, but my 9-year-old Brody, we don't speak 9-year-olds. So we don't understand what he's talking about, and he's frustrated. He needs that connection with other 9-year-olds.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. Do they fight? Because my two go from being the best friends in the world to, oh my God, is the screaming amazing.
Yeah. Always. Yeah.
But do boys
not to be like, doesn't everyone just want to take some Benadryl and go to bed? I don't condone that, but I'm just saying.
No, of course not. No one's saying
going around taking hydroxychloroquine or insulin or whatever the newest one is, but you think it. Benadryl.
I get it. Just like we take a glass of wine or 2 or 3.
Right. Just to be like, don't you just want this day to end?
Yeah. But I remember growing up with me and my brother, we would fist fight. Like, not more wrestling than fist fight. Do the boys do that?
No, they don't do that too much because there's too much of an age difference and Eli's much stronger.
Good point. Yeah, I guess there was that time there for a while, but eventually my brother caught up. And then eventually my brother caught up, and then both of us were like, we're not hitting each other. What you would say, we'll hurt each other.
How close were you two?
Almost 3 years apart.
Oh, okay. I noticed you're wearing a Snoopy tie.
I did. I tried to go for a little joy today.
Yeah, we need some.
With the Peanuts gang and movies. And always my Embrace Hope pen. I don't know if you're familiar with Penzi Spices. Yeah, they're wonderful. Not an endorsement in any way. I don't get anything from Penzi Spices, but I do love them, and I think they're great pens.
One of our highlights is once a week we will go somewhere and get takeout. We've been getting Nick's, which is really nice, or Machinic Oyster Bar, and that's one of the highlights of the week is to get takeout once a week. Yeah, that's just really for everybody. Everybody needs the break,
Well, yeah, the cooking. I mean, I've cooked nonstop for 3 months now, which is, not obviously something I do. You and Ben do, but it gets wearying.
Just because you can do it doesn't mean you want to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's like, how about hot dogs and cornflakes?
Hot dogs have been a popular one. What pasta? Just you want some pasta? There you go.
Well, the other thing is you have to wait in line to get into a store. So who wants to do that?
No, shopping's been. I'm the only one who's done the grocery shopping. I'm the only one who does grocery shopping anyway. But I'm the only one who's been out during this, and it's intense.
So everyone's staying completely quarantined in your house still?
Yeah, but essentially, I mean, yeah, I've like I said, I've gone to the grocery store a few times, but that's really been about it. You take out occasionally, not often, to be honest with you, but that's about it. We've done a bunch of drive-by birthdays. We're doing another one of those today.
That's the thing. So the other day we were doing that, and I realized. So I looked at my kids, right, and they were both wearing red bandanas and blue bandanas. So I turned around and I looked, and I think to myself, so we're driving by somebody's house with red and blue bandanas, which are basically gang colors. And we're rolling down our windows and screaming. And I'm thinking to myself, only we could be this socially unaware of what we're doing. Because if that happened, on the south side of Chicago, it would be a completely different situation.
Yeah, no, I don't think my birthday's in those areas. I mean,
but still, like, we're driving by people's houses with bandanas crossing our faces. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, and it's hard. I don't see. I can't see distance very well. So if I don't wear my glasses, I can't see distance far away. And if I wear my glasses and the mask on, I can get fogged up. So like I'm in a store and like someone like the other end of the aisle knew me and was saying hello, and I had no idea who they were. I was like, I can't see who their face. All I see is their eyes, and I can't see anything. And that's
the thing is, it's so disorienting. We went to Shaw's the other day, and I brought my kids in, and we ended up buying all of this stuff, and we went for like peanut butter and fluff, and we ended up with like a blow up watermelon ball and freeze pops, but nothing yet, because it's very disorienting to wear a mask. And then you're always going down the wrong aisle with the arrows.
Well, the arrows thing.
People are really upset.
I mean, I pay attention to the arrows. Are you not paying attention to the arrows?
I wasn't, no, but people really do.
I try to. I mean, I think it's a good. I think it's a good observation. To be truthful with you, because I shop Dave's here in Coventry, and it's not the biggest grocery store. I kind of think the arrow should be standard no matter what.
Well, yeah, I like to have those now if I could pay attention. It's hard though. It's a whole different world out there.
It is. It absolutely is. But we'll get through it. I mean, the one I think tenet that I've always believed, and I think it holds true even in times like this, is we're all together.
Yeah.
Even distantly apart, we're all together in this. We all care about each other. We can use the technology, to reach out and say hello to each other and chat, which is nice. I mean, think about if we had this 20 years ago. I mean,
no.
Yeah, it would have been
about that a lot.
Yeah, extraordinarily difficult.
Yeah. So tell us about you. What are you up to? What are your new projects? Is everything on hold?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, everyone at home here is fine and healthy. I mean, Brenda teaches, I kid you not, about 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. Fifth grade math is a difficult thing online, but she does it. And
is she in geometry right now?
I think so. I haven't seen the latest she's been working on, but
that's really hard to teach online because I'm teaching right now too, and it is almost.
So she's good. I think everyone will be glad when the school year is officially over in 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks. Kids are healthy. I'm kind of in an interesting limbo state. I mean, I'm doing this show, twice a week, which is a lot of fun to talk to people and catch up. But I haven't really made any money in 3 months because I don't have any events.
I was going to ask what's going on with. So this is prime eat drink season. It
was. I mean, the festival was canceled, postponed. I mean, all 4 of the events were, put away until probably next year, to be honest, because I don't think we'll be able to do anything over 100 people for quite some time. Can't do any farm dinners because, again, we usually have between 75 and 100 people at those, and that doesn't look possible. So we'll have the farmers market at Blackbird this summer. Though I've had some farmers that have been, our regulars in the past say we'd rather not do it this year, which I completely understand and respect. It's just unfortunate. I don't know. I think I've said a couple of times to friends on messages, I've got to find something else to do with my life. But
I really think that's true because I read an article the other day that the small restaurant's gone and prepare yourself for just chains. Can that possibly be true?
I don't know. I mean, I think Rhode Island is somewhat unique in that chains don't have the hold here quite so much as in other parts of the country.
Down here, we only have, I don't know, Applebee's, I think?
Right.
Or Dunkin' Donuts. Like, how could that be? Like, we depend on these small restaurants.
Yeah.
It's part of our community.
Yeah. Well, I mean, describe to us, how is Umelt working? I mean, Umelt's a great, small, fast casual, but in Providence.
Well, we tried to keep it open as long as we could because we were providing lunch for the Providence school kids who had food insecurities, which was important to us. And then it just became a safety issue for our staff. But we've just recently opened up with outside seating, but nobody's sitting at it. Everyone's scared. So I don't know. Just because we're opening doesn't mean people are coming.
Right. I think that's an important thing to that I keep pointing out online is just because the health department, the governor says, it's okay to do this, it's okay to do the next step, and so on and so forth. If a business can't do it, if it doesn't work out for them safety-wise, they're not going to do it, and takeout is still key.
Well, it's not only that, but it's your clientele. If they don't feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. The whole
they're not going to come.
Right.
Or if they have anyone in their family with a comorbidity, they're not going to risk it. And there just isn't enough information to make dinner out worth it, I think. So it's going to be really hard. It's going to be a really hard couple of months.
Yeah. Has Umelt done well with takeout?
It's done well, yeah. Takeout works, but that's a hard. I mean, it's just hard.
It's right downtown there. There's no students around.
Right. So that's the other problem.
There's no one in the offices, I assume, right?
Yeah. So there's no one that would be there normally, and nobody's usually downtown anyway.
Right.
just because you want to go. So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. I think that's pretty much the answer for everything.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a perfectly legitimate answer right now. I don't know. It's factual. It's the way it is. And so the Salty's Burgers spots at the beaches. Are you preparing them? What do you think?
We're ready. They're opening them. We can open anytime. We just need the go ahead. But I completely understand the governor's concern because we're not open and Scarborough is crazy right now. And people aren't wearing masks down there. So if they're going to continue to not do what's mandated, I don't know how we can, as business owners, open. So I completely understand her concerns.
And do you still have any concessions in Massachusetts?
We have 2 on the Cape, and actually the Cape is closing for the summer.
That's what I was wondering. So the rules are different.
It's so close to Massachusetts and Boston that it's just too good.
Oh, yeah, the rules are much different. That's too bad.
Yeah.
So then what's next for all of you?
I don't know. Finish 5th grade and then see what happens. I have no idea. I usually know, and now I just constantly say I have no idea.
Right. Well, I know the boys are also very, very big into sports, and that's all been.
So that's an issue. That's an issue is they miss their sports. Yeah. So we try to make them exercise as much as possible so they don't break stuff in the house, because they do. Constant breaking things. Everything's a basketball move or,
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm very glad to have girls in that case. Though they're constantly dancing. They dance nonstop, 24/7. There's Irish dancing around.
They're not turning everything you own into some sort of basketball hoop or bringing bats in the house. Or,
no, they're not doing that.
That's a constant.
But yeah, we try to get them to go outside every day, especially now that the weather's turned so beautiful.
Right.
And because like you said, they need some sort of exercise, some sort of, waiting.
They do. They need to get out.
Right.
They need to.
Yeah.
It's not good for them.
No, not at all.
That's what I say all the time. I don't know. I don't mean to be sad, but
I'm sorry,
I don't mean to be sad, but I don't know.
This is the truth of where we are. I mean, that's it's just the reality of where we are. But you think? I wonder how much of this is going to stick in there. I mean, I know they're going to remember this. Obviously, it's going to be but I wonder how much of it will be. Oh, that was something for a few months, or maybe 6 months, a year, and in my life too. That was really something. So
I wonder that too. I think it depends on what kind of family you sheltered in place with. And I think that because I was teaching this entire time, Ben had to take over homeschooling with Brody because he's only in 3rd grade and he's never heard of Google Classroom. So he had no ability to do it. Eli was more plug and play. But I wonder about the kids that didn't have a father that was willing to sit with their 9-year-old for 4 hours a day.
Right.
And what that gap's going to look like when they get back and how we're going to fix it.
Well, the technology gap. I mean, we're fortunate enough to have the tools for our children.
Yeah. The technology gap and the fact that he read with him and made sure he wrote and made sure he did his work. Like the parents that had to work or weren't willing to do it. So those kids are going to have a lag time. And I wonder what that's going to feel like. And I think we'll feel that forever. That's what I worry about.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So I worry a lot about, so Brody will go back with a father that was willing and had the time to do it. That sacrifice for him. But what about the dads that couldn't or the moms that couldn't?
Right.
And then the 9-year-old that couldn't get on Google Classroom and didn't read and didn't catch up because it's such a valuable time and didn't learn their times tables. And now is going to 4th grade out that bridge. And that's going to be hard to then have a child that had that parent and then a child that didn't, and close the gap, because the gap was already so big to begin with. So I worry about that. And I think that will stick with this generation forever.
That's a good point. I probably will. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a device of some kind at home, you can't even really interact or get on.
No, you can't. And then that means you had no interaction. And then what about the kids with the speech pathologists and the behavior that haven't had that personal interaction? Or the kids with food insecurities? Those kids that haven't had that safety net for months. That's what I think about.
No, the food bank has been, I mean, they're overtaxed regularly anyway. Now they're way overtaxed.
Yeah, and then you think about the meat companies and meat package companies, and it's
that story is crazy. I'm kind of immersed in that every day because the one nothing's good about any of this, but the one silver lining we've seen is that Blackbird has been extremely busy.
Yeah,
people have realized that I can't buy. I don't want to go to the grocery store, or I can't buy ground beef at the grocery store because it's sold out. And there's this farm here in Smithfield that I can go, and it's $9-10 a pound for ground beef. I mean, we're not talking inexpensive meat because it's such a small farm. But people are going there buying. I mean, we're selling everything we load in every Thursday, or we load in Tuesday, Wednesday, and every Thursday the farm stand opens. And by Sunday, it's down to, I'm getting messages like, what do I do with rump? It's like, it's not hard.
Maybe we need to start thinking about that. I mean, some of the best meals, like brisket, for instance, is not a great meat, right? But they've made smoked brisket. Like my stepmother, who's Jewish, makes possibly the best brisket. And you have to cook it all day in Coca-Cola. And then the Irish boil it. Like maybe it's time in this time of economic struggle to start figuring out how we deal with. You can't always have the best piece of meat.
Absolutely not.
And maybe it's time to go back to that.
Well, not even economically to a certain point. It's just physically. If we slaughter 2 heads of cattle for a month, there's only 48 steaks there for the month.
Yeah.
So, eventually someone's not going to get a steak. If someone comes in and buys 2-3 steaks, those are going to be gone very quickly. And they go very quickly. And so
it's time that we stop wasting these animals and start thinking about what we can do with all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we're fortunate that at the farm we have all those cuts. And so I get those messages from people, I just bought some short ribs. What do I do with short ribs? And it's educational.
What do you do with rump? Tell me. I'm so curious.
Pot roast.
There you go. See, these are old meals that have kind of gone wasted.
So what's very interesting, which I find, and it's a very simple tool now, and it's not an expensive tool. So it's not cheap. It's $150. But if you get a immersion circulator, I'll do chuck roast for 24 hours, and it's just as good as a sirloin.
So that's something that, I have an obsession with old cookbooks and like from the 50s about entertaining. And they're so interesting. It's about, stretching $1. And maybe it's time that we all go back to that. Right. You can't have a Sunday roast chicken every night.
Right.
Just because maybe it's time we start thinking about what to do with the dark meat and how to make it last.
Well, I also tell people, a Blackbird Farm steak on average is around 14 to 16 ounces. And I'll tell people that's a serving for, 2 or 3 people. No one needs to eat 15 ounces, 16 ounces of beef by themselves.
No, but then you can cut it up and make shepherd's pie with the rest of it.
There you go.
That's something we have to start thinking about.
Most people have.
The world.
Yeah. And same things, I think, with all the other farms out there right now, I think, again, it's not a good thing, but the one thing that we can see is that people are going to these farms and buying more local right now. And hopefully we can hold on to those consumers and they don't just go flocking back to Stop and Shop when they think that it's okay to go.
I'm really hoping so. I hope they really understand that standing outside of a grocery store on like a blue line with a mask on makes you aware that your grocery store didn't produce this food. It came from somewhere.
Right.
And maybe we can start thinking about that. I mean, I think a lot about World War II and how out of World War II came victory gardens. So maybe we can start on that same idea.
Are you still gardening a lot?
Yes, we have planted a huge garden. We have potatoes coming up, radishes, and lots of greens. So that's good.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, that's how we first met. Yeah, geez, how many years ago? At the farm? Yeah.
9 years ago. I can't believe it.
I know. I don't know where the time goes. It's crazy to realize. But I mean, we keep pushing the local, and hopefully, this is a chance to shine. So we'll take advantage of it.
This is the time right now that people realize we can't do the same things we've been doing.
Right.
And hopefully
the other thing I hope we can get people to realize, and I wonder how you feel about it as the owner of small restaurants, is I think we have to realize that people that aren't paid enough for the work that we're asking them to do in general, grocery store workers, fast food workers, the whole across the spectrum minimum wage. And, it's easy to say, because then, you look at someone like yourself and it's like, okay, can you suddenly afford to pay all your employees a lot more?
Well, I mean, you look at the payroll stimulus that went through, and then you think about in this pandemic, who are the essential workers? Who are the ones that work? And who are the ones on the front lines? And those are grocery store workers. And what are they paid? And then you think about the people that can really stay at home and protect themselves. And you think about how we need to really assess why they're essential and how much they deserve to be paid, at least hazard pay for being essential.
But then do you think, I definitely agree with the hazard pay. I think that should definitely go through. We'll see if that happens or not. But then I was going to say, do you think going forward back into the whatever normal may be, could you afford? I mean, the only way you could afford to across the board pay all the part-time staff, or any of your staff, it doesn't mean part-time or not, more is if the food prices go up. And then the question is, okay, will consumers pay if your burger price suddenly doubles? I mean, I don't think doubling is probably, but if it did, how much business will you lose?
My question is, I don't know.
Yeah. And then the flip side is, as someone who, basically what I make, like I said, I haven't made anything in 3 months, but what went on a regular year, what I make, I generally put back into going out to eat, because that's just what I choose to do. And if my restaurant tab suddenly went from, $100 every time Brenda and I were out to $200 every time Brenda and I were out, I mean, obviously I can't, that cuts in half of what I would spend.
Right. So then that's another thing we have to all start thinking about. And, they're saying that they don't have meat insecurity, but the reality is they do. We're getting notices from our purveyors that there's going to be. And the reason is you need to think about not only meat packing plants, but the people that make the styrofoam it sits on.
Sure.
People that, wrap it, and then people that clean at night the slaughtering equipment, they're getting sick. So, it's an ecosystem. And if you take one part out, it all falls apart. So we all need to reassess what we're going to spend money on. And the answer is, I don't know. Yeah.
No, the ripple effect is enormous. I mean, all the way out, to, linen companies and HVAC repair companies. I mean, all these companies are going to be affected by all these businesses not at capacity.
And then you think about when this pandemic hits the third world where you can't wash your hands. So then sneakers aren't going to be as cheap. What's that going to look like?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's a very good point. No, it's reality, Jess. I mean, I've tried to, keep an upbeat attitude, but it's reality. I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, that's, we're going to try.
And I think a lot about like the 1918 pandemic, and we weren't globally reliant on trade as much as we are. Our shoes were made here. Our clothing was here. Now we're reliant on third world countries where this pandemic hasn't really hit as hard as it's going to. And what's that going to look like? And life is not valued even as much as it is here. So it's going to be rough.
Yeah. That was true. So let's try and be a little hopeful.
A little more positive.
Yeah, let's try and be a little more hopeful here before we close. What are you? What is good that's going on around with you and your family?
So my sons and I are doing a lot of failed science experiments. We try one every day. It never works, ever. We go outside every day and play with the dog, who loves quarantine. He's like, this is the best time of my life because you guys play with me. He's already asleep over there next to me. We have a lot of positive. We're happy. We're healthy. You got to try to keep that in mind, I guess.
Right.
And you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's what you got to do. And how about Ben's parents and family and all?
Ben's been bringing groceries to his parents, which is good because they have comorbidities. So he will bring stuff to him, which is nice. And
good.
You don't even realize how much. And they always talk about how it's switched. Like, okay, now my child's taking care of me, and how interesting that is. But they're always very excited. They're like, "Oh, watermelon!" Like they're excited to get groceries.
Nice.
So,
that's good. Well, I mean, that's health is that is what we have, and then we'll keep it going that way.
Yeah. Let's stay positive. We'll try.
Yes. Well, I have a little questionnaire that I like to end my speech with. This is a little lighter and fun, so you can have a little fun with this.
Okay, good. We will have fun
before we go. I don't know if you remember the old Inside the Actor Studio. I copped some of this from that, and then I adapted a little bit too. So,
I used to love that.
Jessica, what is your favorite word?
My favorite balls. I love balls. Yeah.
I like that.
It goes for everything. It's just great.
What is your least favorite word?
I can't say that. But no is my least favorite word.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Spring.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, this has been actually a really nice spring. Lately, we've had really wet springs the last few years, and this one's been a really nice one. So that's nice.
I feel like the earth's healing itself. It's nice.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
What turns you off?
Press conferences from the White House.
Oh God, you're not really watching Trump, are you?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah.
Oh, I can't watch him. Oh, it hurts my soul to watch him.
Yeah, yesterday was pretty bad when he wanted to just give insulin a try.
Give insulin a try. I mean, what does that mean? Oh God.
I was like, okay, but that's kind of like, okay. I got nothing. I was like, and I was texting a friend. I said, did you just hear what I heard? And she's like, yeah, that can't be.
I mean, I'm a non-medicated eating diabetic. I self-regulate by watching my weight. But if I did,
I mean, insulin's not like a let's try it.
Yeah, I would just be incensed. I mean, that's just insane. Well.
Okay, so that's what turns me off.
Okay, I understand that. What is your favorite curse word?
Balls.
Nothing firmer than that? Nothing?
Just
okay.
Good. Just good.
It's solid.
Yeah.
What sound or noise do you love?
Birds. Or my kids laughing.
Yeah.
I love that.
That is really sweet when they get giggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Trump.
That might be my favorite curse word right now, the way you said it. That should be a curse word. We should make that a curse word.
Just him saying anything is just horrifying to me.
Yeah. What is your favorite ingredient or flavor?
What's butter? I love butter.
Yeah, good butter. Nothing beats that.
Butter.
Maybe a little salt on top.
Oh, salt, butter. I mean, everything butter.
You have made some wonderful butters for our events over here. That's very much appreciated.
Butter.
It's wonderful. What is your least favorite ingredient?
Let's see. What is my least favorite ingredient? Pork. I like bacon, and I want to like pork, but I don't like it, and I don't know why.
Okay.
But when like Blackbird makes it, and I don't know it's pork, I'm like, wow, this is delicious. I think it's like a thing. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I think got me was those commercials in the 80s, like the other white meat.
Yes, those were.
And it was like really pale white, and it was so creepy.
Yeah.
And it was just wrong. I don't know what it is. If I don't know it's pork, I love it. And then if you tell me it's pork, I'm like, like that.
Well, I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Okay.
I think actually that happened last year at my house when I had the porchetta. Ben gave you some, and you loved it.
Delicious. And then you're like, it's pork, and it's like, like I don't
That's
know.
right.
Like
Well, see, next time I make a porchetta, I'll call it a turketta and just let you believe.
Fine, I'll eat it.
And you'll eat it. I mean, you ate it anyway, but yes. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I want to be an astronaut. That looks so cool with SpaceX today. They're
Yeah,
off.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know that they were launching today, right?
Try that.
Wow. All right. Jessica Wood, astronaut. I like that.
I'd be terrible at it. I'd be like, all the gauges look fine. Let's go. I wouldn't check anything. I'd be like, yeah, that looks fine. Don't worry about that. I don't know why.
Did we say we were launching at 2 or 3?
Just turn the music up. It'll be fine. Beep, beep. Just turn it up. It's fine. And then, like, I would be the worst astronaut, Dave. You can't say, like, yeah, you should try that. First, I would never know what time we were there, ever. I would never show up. I'm terrible with electronics. I can barely text. I would never read any of the instructions. I'd be like, let's just go. It sounds fun. So no. Yeah, I would like to do that, but I shouldn't.
Okay. Well, maybe you could join the Space Force because I'm sure that'll be a lot of people like that.
See, that also was horrifying. Does anyone know that looks like the Star Trek emblem? Am I the only one that sees that?
Oh, no, that's all. Yeah, everyone on social media sees that. Yeah.
So they just rip it off and it's like, yeah, let's go, Star Trek.
It seems like that's the general response to a lot of people.
Like, I love this. I can't. It's just awful. Okay, next question.
All right, what profession would you not like to do? Ever?
What do I want to never do? I don't know. There's nothing I don't want to do. Sounds like fun. You might as well try everything.
That's a great answer. I like that.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. And then my last question is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I'm so sorry for the last 3.5 years.
Well, hopefully you're not going to die today. But if so.
I'm so sorry for the Trump administration. It was a joke, and it was really mean. I'm sorry.
It's a bad
I'm really sorry. It was a test of humanity.
Well, we get through it. We'll have passed. That's for sure.
I hope so.
I think so. Again, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of love. We're in this together.
We are.
I mean, it's wonderful to just get on here and see your face smiling for,
It was really fun. It was really fun. I'm glad I remembered, or you reminded me to show up. Well, I gotta go though, because I gotta get on that SpaceX flight.
Yes, you should. Astronaut Wood.
I got another text, so I gotta go. Bye, Dave.
Goodbye, Jess. Good seeing you. Take care.